I want to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of Real News today. I am excited about my next guest who is here with me, Patti Grover. We actually got connected through Beverly Zimmett, part of a little speaking group that Beverly has orchestrated together, and we've been talking through Messenger, and we were able to get together on a Zoom call. So many similarities that really resonated, and I thought the things that she could share would definitely have a great impact on the audience for today, especially now in the times that we're in trying to figure out what 2020 has for us all. And in those of us who are thinking about creating our own destiny for 2021, the tips and the mindset hacks that she has, I think is very appropriate. So at this time, I'm going to give Patti the floor to introduce herself before we get into the interview.
Hello, everybody. I'm Patricia Jo Grover, the Goal Achievement Strategist. And, what Lachelle was saying is, yes, it is very important. Mindset is huge. I work with people all the way from the dream weaving process all the way through achieving. And it's all about knowing that you are worthy and that you are capable. And with my show, I help people um, learn that through the guests that I bring onto my own show. Everything is about encouraging, educating, and empowering people to make the most out of their lives, to live their best lives possible. And a lot of it comes from the limiting beliefs that we have, and whether we have put them on ourselves or we have allowed other people to put them on us. So that's what I do with my complete platform, all the way from the consulting aspect, coaching, and mentoring, because I myself have been through struggles that I'm able to teach people how I came through that process. I've created a system with my book that I've written as a tool to goal achievement
Mhm.
that breaks it down into step by step on ways to really put a plan together. And many people are familiar with the smarter plan. If you've been in business, and all that, been around. But the smarter, with adding the ER, it's adding the editable and the revisable, because life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. And that's the thing. If anybody's familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer,
Mhm.
and I use this a lot because um, what he says is it's never crowded along that extra mile. And most people are looking at this in the way I'm going to try to frame this for you. That extra mile of these high achieving people, the people that have achieved their dreams and goals, we're thinking of that extra mile that they're walking, and there's not too many people. Well, that is true. There aren't too many people there. But the thing is, that work and that what they're doing is that actually it's behind the scenes. It's all the stuff that they do, those things, those steps that most people don't want to take the time and put the effort into doing. They just want to go from point A to point B, and they just want it to happen and have it be a straight line to get there, but it's not. And again, life happens to every single one of us. So it's all in the planning. It's actually articulating and digging down deep. We need to, for me to help anyone to get from point A to point B, the first thing we have to do is figure out where someone is and help them determine, what strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their opportunities are, and what their threats are. And that's really digging deep. And a lot of people, very emotionally draining and hard to really think about or accept things of, where things are lacking, and allowing themselves to realize they do have opportunities that they never thought of. So that's again, helping people find out where they are, and then for them to be able to dream and allow themselves to dream. And I find that women have a difficult time doing that, as we all know, because women put other people's needs and wants and desires ahead of their own. So I help women to be able to, and I work with men too, but primarily women, to again allow themselves and know that they're worthy, to dream, but to be able to put together and understand what their purpose is and their why, because we have to have those if we're going to be on that battlefield trying to achieve those dreams and goals. We have to understand why we're doing this to begin with, and our purpose and the purpose behind that. Because if I can help them realize that they can and are worthy achieving those dreams and goals, whatever it is, because everyone's going to have a different one, and for them to really articulate it, all the P's and Q's of what that is going to look like to them. So we have to dig that out and find out what exactly it for them is that success. Success is different for every single one of us. And then I teach people sensory vision. And how I explain sensory vision is when you close your eyes, I want you to be able to feel it. Not whatever if you're in that spot, so whatever that is, that texture, but I want you to emotionally feel it too, and be able to smell it, taste it, touch it, hear it, all those things, so that connection is so real to you, so that when you put your purpose and your why together, that you want this, and that's what you're going after, then you're unstoppable. Because those struggles, because another part of what I teach through my program is that your uh, your curiosity has to be greater than your fears, but you have to have the courage and consistency, because once you've articulated and you put together that smarter plan, you need to activate it, and put action to this. And once you activate that, you have to have the courage and consistency to work those plans all the way through to achievement. And so that's what I do with my clients. And again, it is, once somebody learns the process and the system that I've put together, they
Mhm.
can follow it time and time again,
Mhm.
and from every goal that they put in front of themselves. So what I like to tell people is never put more than 3 goals on your plate at one time. Okay, so what I mean by that, and they have to be, if you're putting three things together that you're trying to achieve, they have to you know complement each other.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll just use this one for example. If you want to become healthier and lose weight and everything, whatever, for 2021,
Mhm.
say for an example, and that's not usually a goal, that's more a New Year's resolution, but it can be a goal for people. But what goes into all of those steps? Well, really think about this, and how I'm trying to explain how with goals and not putting more than 3 on your plate at one time.
Mhm.
Diet is a goal all in itself, because what
Right.
do you have to do to have a proper diet? You have to meal plan, you have to shop for it, you have to prepare it, right? Those are all three things that go into dieting.
Mhm.
If you're going to lose weight and be healthy, you have to drink water.
Mhm.
So have to get all that into you, and calculate and keep track. Well, so you have that, and then you have to exercise. So you have to put that in your calendar to do what time of day you're going to do it. You have to do it. You have to figure out, okay, well, is this going to be my abs day? Is this going to be my legs day? Is this going to be, and all the things that go into that. So your diet and exercise and drinking your water. But then also, if you're tracking your steps and your, all the things like the pedometer type thing, you have to have that, and you have to figure that out. But guess what happens if you don't keep that charged, your battery for that charge, you're not going to be able to track that. So,
Mhm.
and what happens if people don't have all these things in place? Guess what happens? It falls through the cracks.
Right.
So you don't want to put too much more. If you're really going to focus on it and really going to do it,
Mhm.
if you put anything more than that, and so all of those things, they work together to get you to your final goal, what you want to do. You want to be healthier, you want to diet, you want to exercise, you want to lose weight, and once you do that and you're consistent with it, then it's creating a habit, because we all know it takes at least 21 days, right?
Right.
at least 21 days to create a habit. So that, okay, so if you did that and you achieved that goal and you've created that habit, as long as you're maintaining that habit, then you can pick up something else to put on your plate to have it be another goal. But if you're trying to add everything else on top of that, one thing or another is not going to happen.
Mm. I
So,
love that.
so I just trying to get that, understanding there of what, what it actually takes. So because I want to assist everyone, as many people as possible, in being successful at what you're choosing for your dream or goal. So you know to me, if I were going to join the Boston Marathon to run, if I did that, my goal, and I wouldn't consider myself successful, um for not finishing. I would still I would consider myself successful if I made it a city block, if I ran in the Boston Marathon. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So some people, they're not going to consider themselves successful unless they finish the marathon,
Mm-hmm.
or unless they come in, whatever, first, second, third, whatever that case may be. But I
Mm-hmm.
would consider myself successful if I got in the Boston Marathon and made it a block, a city block. So again, that's different for every single one of us, but we have to have standards. We have to have standards for ourselves. We're not in competition with anyone else, and so many people need to realize this. We need to show up and be there for ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
create our own, what it is. What are our standards? What do we consider
Mm-hmm.
successful? What do we consider being uh, healthy? What do we consider being strong? What do we, those are all things for us individually to determine for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Very good point.
Right.
I love all that now. And so I love how you mentioned how you have taken what you have learned and now help other people apply it. So many people right now currently have learned so much during this pandemic. And, they've had to reinvent themselves and
Yes.
begin to create new traditions, new normals. So, what advice would you give somebody who is at that space to where they feel like they've learned a lot and they want to begin to share it? What should they start out doing?
Really, it's so it yes, they've learned a lot and they want to share it. So
Mhm,
first, and it goes back to, first we got to figure out exactly where they are. So really, what do they still need to learn, know, or do to
mhm,
be able to get from point A to point B? Okay. So again, it's really digging deep. No matter where anybody is, whatever they're trying to achieve, we got to figure out where they are. Because like Lachelle, if I were going to go visit you at your house, and if you
mhm,
couldn't tell me where you were, I wouldn't be able to find you, and you can't give directions if you don't have. So that's really where everybody has to begin, is because we don't know what we don't know until we get there and we don't know it, right? But we're trying to take as much of that out of the um so that we take it out of the equation. So it's really, those small things. You don't just, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? But so we really need to take that piece and
mhm,
really, figure it out, because that is finding out where we are. So if they've learned things about themselves, about the world, about the possibilities that people have, yes, so they, so what else do they need to know to be able to bring it to the world? And then it depends on which way, what they want to do. So again, it's all breaking things down, because do they want to bring it to the world in the form of a show like what you or I are doing? Do they want to become a speaker? Do they want to create courses? Do they, what do they want to do? Do they want to write a book? All these things. I had no idea, honestly, Lachelle. I had no idea when I had my book in mind, because my book originally, I had wanted to write it years and years ago, and I had notes everywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
But until I finally decided, I'm going to do this, and I had cleared my plate and was able to put everything together. And until that point, you know, you have to have that in your mind. Okay, I am going to do this, and then sit down and get it done. But I didn't realize how much more went into it's. Not just getting what's in your mind onto pages into a book, and going to whether you self-publishing, like go through Amazon, or if you go to a publishing company. Or the first one time I did, I went through a hybrid publishing company. But the thing is, that's, if you're looking to make money,
Mhm.
you're not going to make a lot of money just selling your books individually.
Right.
You need to get out there, and you need to get them into larger markets, and you need to have other products and services that you've created from your content
Mhm.
to be able to make money, if you're going to be making any money. And that makes you, as author, having to be a speaker, having to be um, doing coaching, training, or and also have courses, because that in this industry, that's really the way that you're going to make money.
Mhm. Okay.
And I had no idea that all, before this, I had no idea that all those pieces came in play. And then, if you're not, and I'm not a techie person, so I had to learn all the, the what I've done so far with my technical, like, I've had to pick up and learn those things.
Mhm.
um unless you can hire somebody else to do them for you.
Mhm.
So with those aspects, um so you don't know until what you don't know,
Mhm.
and until you get there, or you have find mentors and coaches and take courses yourself to learn all these things.
Mhm. Good. Now,
So it really will depend on what somebody, again, what their personal goal is.
right, and I get that. Now, so for you, you have mentioned a lot of great nuggets, and I hope everybody is taking notes. That's one of the things about video. It's like, oh, I would love to be writing everything down. I have a book by the time I get done with each interview. But what is it that you do that keeps you in this um, ability to be able to evolve and have a good mindset? Because we have the news and this uproar about the politics and all these different things that are going on, but you're serving people. So how do you stay in the right mindset?
Oh, Lachelle, uh, I maybe it's my age. Maybe it's my age, but I have to say, my initials are PJG, Patricia Joe
Mhm.
Grover.
Mhm.
I chose a long time ago that I wanted to live my life purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully. To me, that's the perfect trifecta. It really is. So think of them as three circles, and they're all together. And where they meet in the middle,
Mhm.
that's the sweet spot. To me, that's bliss. You know, Really, I'm choosing to have my be in that middle of all
Mhm.
those three circles as much as possible.
Mhm.
And to me, um, that's keeping my glass full enough so I'm still able to give to others.
I
And
love
what I
that.
teach and what I teach my clients is, we need to put ourselves first. Put yourself first, um, with health. So your health, and we're not talking just physical health. We're talking spiritual health. We're talking mental health. We're talking financial health. So all those things. So you have to put yourself first
Mhm.
before you can do for others. It's just like when you're on the airplane, and what do they say? Put the oxygen mask on first before you do it for anybody else.
Mhm.
And we have to learn to love ourselves.
Mhm.
And this is where um I had a very difficult, my childhood was different. And I say most, to put it just simply, I had a childhood that most people couldn't conceive, let alone believe, because it was
Mm.
different and strange in most ways that most people wouldn't understand. But uh, how what I took from that and the life that I led, it was it affected me well into my adulthood.
Mm.
I've been married and divorced 3 times, and I'm my fourth and final husband. He's my forever husband. Yeah,
Amen.
I had to kiss a lot of toads to find this prince. But what I learned again through the process of when I was a child, and you've probably heard some of that story through different circles that you've been in with me, and
Mhm.
and so from a childhood and how it affected into adulthood. And it wasn't until after I went through my third divorce that I actually learned to know, like, trust, and love myself.
Mm.
And so I took everything that I learned from a childhood, and the choices and decisions that we make help us design our destiny. So I took all of that from
Mhm.
there, what I learned from what happened with relationships,
Mhm.
and put all that stuff together and took all those um, pieces of wisdom, whether they were learned the hard way from
Mhm.
what I went through,
Mhm.
or I learned at a young age that you have learning from other people's wisdom.
Mm.
That is, that is golden. Those are golden nuggets.
Mhm.
So being able to compile all of that stuff, and when I started writing my book again, I originally when I started with all the notes, it was because I wanted to be able to help single women or women that had been through bad domestic situations and everything to
Mhm.
create better lives for themselves and for their children. And that, that's still behind there. But then I became a grandmother,
Oh.
so I'm a Grammy now. And so part of the reason why I wanted to write my book too was as a mother, as a grandmother, as a nurturing person, what do we want to do? We want to try to help people not have to go through things that we went through.
Right.
We want to try to make it easier for them.
Mhm.
So that is why all taking my grandchildren into place, because if you have kids, what's the most important thing you can do for them? My one of the things was my thought was, if you're going to leave them things, you can leave them cars, you can leave them money, you can do that, everything like that. But the most important thing you can do for a child is teach them how to read.
Mm.
It really
Mhm.
is. But then, other than that, what do we want to do? We want to give them what we have for that knowledge and wisdom. Well,
Right.
you know what it's like when you try to tell your kids, well, how about you try it this way? You know how that goes. Okay.
Right.
So what I did is everything that I've put into my book, um, I've put it into, again, the system that somebody can use. So for my grandchildren, when they're old enough, because I have the oldest right now is 8 years old. So,
Mhm.
when they're older, about middle school, they can start using this tool,
Mhm.
um, to be able to read it and follow the steps, and that will help them. Because once a child or anyone, once you learn something and you're successful with it,
Mhm.
when you gain and achieve that goal, that gives you confidence, and that gives you hunger to go on and put more and try more and put yourself out there more.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so again, that's why I wrote the book as a tool that I've created it to be. So I mean, I've been hired by parents to work with middle school children, all high school children, all the way up through. And then I have people that have retired from jobs that, they've had a hobby that now they're looking to create a business from it, because the job that they had, the businesses have closed, or they may have been a business owner who now they need to again, we're talking pivot, shift, everything, and it's so different. So for them to go back out into, hey, now what do I do? How do I go about this? Can I even do it? That's what I'm here for.
Mhm.
With the children part of it, because you have children, we've talked about the children and grandchildren stuff, is
Mhm.
that, again, if they learn how to do all the hard work behind the scenes, put all the pieces together, everything I teach, Lachelle, is really no different than all the people that are high achievers. What these people are doing, I've broken it down, because there are only 8% of people that achieve the goals, and the high achievers. There's
Mhm.
8% of people that are there. I want to get more people into that achieving category.
Mhm.
you know I didn't focus on what the 92% of the other people are doing wrong, because there's so many people in in that area. And I'm not perfect. I I'm right up front, I'm not perfect, but to
Mhm.
me, I am very happy and I'm content, where I am, who I am. I have no ands, ifs, or buts of where I am and what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
Um, so from and you said, how do I keep my mindset good?
Mhm.
It's because I again, I am in that sweet spot.
Mm.
I don't question. I know that I'm doing so, as I'm coming from a place of service with everything I do. And I always go back to, because I've put those plans in place and I've done those work with putting that smarter plan together.
Mhm.
And all of this goes back to um, organization, planning, and calendaring.
Mm.
Because if you have your A, B, C, D, and E,
Mhm.
absolutely have to do, gotta do, has to get done. Okay, your D is delegate and your E is
Mhm.
eliminate. So you
Mhm.
have those, and then you have your one, two, three, and what steps need to happen for this thing to work.
Mm.
So you break
Mhm.
that down, and that's how you eat your elephant. That's one bite at a time. That's taking
Mhm.
that chunk off, and okay, how do we get this chunk? And that's
Mhm.
even through your day, or through,
Mhm.
so thinking, because so many people look at something and it gets overwhelming, and then they have the fear of even getting started.
Right.
Okay, so we
Mhm.
take that fear, we're breaking everything. I tell everybody, break everything down, that fear,
Mhm.
whatever, that, break it down so that it isn't so overwhelming, and then
Mhm.
put it in and plug it into your calendar. But what do you have to do? You have to put yourself first in that. So put that,
Mhm.
all your stuff, all your family stuff, put that into your calendar, then start putting everything else in. But how to catch yourself from overwhelm and getting too far off track, because I teach people too, you need to budget your time, your money, and your energy.
Mhm.
All of those things are a value, and it's a quality, and those are your measurables. To really look at that, you have to budget. You have to budget if into your plan for success also, because when you reach a certain milestone, you need to have a reward for yourself,
Mm.
and you need to budget money for that. But you also need to budget time. Say, hey, when I get to this, whatever, I'm going to buy new clothes, or I'm going to, whatever it is, those
Mhm.
things. Put that into your plan.
Mhm. Yeah.
So with that, but what I was getting to is weekly. Okay, you have to have plans, so you have to have,
Mhm.
so eh, have planning days. So you make a plan for your whole year, you make your plan for your quarter, you make your plans for your month. You break these down. Okay, you start
Mhm.
there and work your way. Then you do your weekly plans, and then you have your daily plans. Okay,
Mhm.
so once a week you should have a planning day where you go
Mhm.
in and you check, okay, this was, I got these things done, these are things I need to celebrate, these are things I need to switch over, put into the next week's calendar, to get things accomplished,
Mhm.
so that you're tracking those measurables. Am I ahead of schedule? Am I behind schedule? Where am I struggling? um you know Doing all of that and doing it on a weekly basis can keep you from getting too far derailed and off track. It's
Mm.
easier to bring yourself back when you
Mhm.
don't stray too far from that. but
Mhm.
but also on your daily, if you in the morning, you take a look at your calendar, what have I got to get accomplished, and you know put your ABCs, one, two, threes to those things. And at the end of the night, you go back and you do your check of, okay, did this stuff get done? Check, check, check.
Mhm.
Does this need to, do I still have to get this thing done? Move it to tomorrow.
Mhm.
And so all those things um, keep you from fray, going too far, falling
Right.
off track. So, and
Mhm.
and how I say with that, with mindset, is because when you feel like you are accomplishing what you set out to accomplish, how
Mhm.
rewarding is that? How does that help you feel? You
Yeah,
know,
$150.
if it's your goal, I can't want it more for anyone than they want it for themselves.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. But for when it's our own, it is so empowering.
Yeah.
It is so empowering when we're doing that. So keeping that, and if we have our chunks plugged in for ourselves, if we have our stuff plugged in and we're able to attend family functions and we're able
Mhm.
to do this, how can that not keep you joyful?
Mhm.
If you're able to get everything else done you're trying to get done, and
Mhm.
you're able to put yourself first, do the things for yourself, do the things for your family, be there, for that, how much better can that get? You know,
Mhm.
so I guess that's how I would say I've been able to keep that way. What happens though, and is putting too much. If something else comes in, we have to learn to say no to some
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
So where things fall through is trying to put too much on our plates.
Mhm.
That self sabotage. That's where, and I have been, and recently even have been, but I take that on. I accept that I've done that. But how I can catch myself is on my weekly check-in and saying with myself and the weekly planning. I got to take that step back, and how you
Mhm.
catch yourself is have that plan, and follow that plan. And if you find out you're getting too far off track, that's your check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
you
Love that.
know
Mhm.
so it's all everything. It's so simple. It's kind of like, how come I don't get it? You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
how come I don't do it?
Mhm.
It's because it's so small that we overlook, and people overlook, and we just, and I don't know if it's society today, or what it is. Everything's so automatic, or whatever. And really, it's all going back to the basics. It's all going back to really the putting our again, putting ourselves, put that mask on ourselves before we try
Mhm.
to help
Mhm.
anybody else. And again, I learned everything that I learned, um, doing deep discovery for myself.
Mhm.
And for
Mhm.
since I went through that, I'm able to show others how to go through it. And and sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes it's
Right.
difficult for people. Sometimes it's
Right.
very emotional.
Mhm.
And people have a hard time um, sharing sometimes,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
sharing their vulnerability
Yes.
with others. and
Mhm.
and and that's it. But what I'm saying is, I've been there. I've done it
Mhm.
myself, and I'm not here to judge anyone. I
Right.
am here to, anything anyone shares with me of, whatever. People have a hard time sometimes sharing their weaknesses,
So true.
and,
Been
and
there,
everything.
done that.
Right. Yeah, right. But until you do, though, until you
Mhm.
do, how can you move forward and make
Right.
progress?
Mhm.
And so that's what I do with people.
That is awesome. Well, this has just been a great conversation. I have, I'm going to go back and watch this replay. So I encourage everybody to reach out to Patty. She is such a wealth of information. And during this time, while we're reinventing ourselves, there are things that we might need to get worked out, and even as she said, we can go way back as far as our childhood, really still impacting our life today. So if you want to get things in order and talk to somebody who understands and that you feel you can trust, I would encourage you to reach out to her to help you get everything together, even from your daily routine. So, Patty, we have just really enjoyed this. What's the best way for everybody to reach out to you?
You can find out more about me at patriciajogrover.com. That's Patricia, Joe Grover.com. And I have gifts. Can I share gifts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We
It
love gifts now.
yeah. Um, there's over $600 worth of value in what I'm giving.
Mhm.
If you text the word goal, GOAL, to
Mhm.
866-926-4020.
Mhm.
I have their $5 off coupon for my book. So they, if they pre-order the second edition of my book's launching soon.
Mhm.
So if, for a pre-order, they get $5 off. But then I also have, if there's 3 assignments, because I everything is actionable. I'm talking action. So I
Mhm.
have assignments that I give. So there's 3 assignments, and you don't even have to order my book to get this. If you do the 3 assignments and send them back to me, you automatically get an hour free consultation.
Oh.
And what I do is I take the 3 assignments and I review them, and then I come back to you. And when I'm with you, I'm also spending another hour. And we're putting all these things in. We're putting the framework together for you to create your goal of achievement. So by doing that, and then I have other coupons on there for other work with me if you want to continue to do work with me. So it's all a great thing this time of year. Get ready to go into 2021 knowing that you have something that you're going for.
I love
Shift gears. Don't focus on all the negative around you. Focus on your future and what's going to make your life and the most impact on your life and your family's life in a positive way.
I love that. And I love the fact that it's actionable because so many times we want to get with a coach and we're expecting them to do all the work and we don't want to do anything but just take notes, you know?
Right.
So I love that. And so, what final word of wisdom or insight would you like to share with the audience?
Have a curiosity that's greater than your fear. Articulate plans to get you to where you want to be. Have the courage and consistency to put those steps and of those plans into action, and then have that system that you're checking yourself, your planning days, so that you're checking where you are, so you know where you need to adjust or edit or revise those plans, because life happens to every single one of us whether we're ready for it or not.
Absolutely. Well, this has just been wonderful. We want to thank you guys again for watching. Again, I encourage you to reach out to Patty. She has such a great heart, and how generous of her to give us that gift. So we encourage you to text that number with with all the instructions that she gave, so that you can begin to get on that road to have a better version of yourself and live the life of bliss that she is living. So we want to thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all the next time.